We're with Adam Feldman. Adam is a criminal attorney in Phoenix, Arizona. He's agreed to answer some questions for the people regarding prescription drugs. With that said, let's go into our first question. Adam, the question was, how much experience do you have in defending prescription drug cases?
Thanks, Ryan. I have a ton of experience when it comes to prescription drug cases. So in practicing for a little over 10 years, I started off as a prosecutor. As a prosecutor, we were handling cases like that, and we learned the ins and outs and the science associated with them, and really how to truly prosecute those cases. I transferred that knowledge base over to defense, and in the 6 years that I was working for somebody else, we had tons of these types of cases. Our office is just a few miles away from college campus, and whether it's Arizona State or University of Arizona, all of these things. I mean, the college kids are around. Unfortunately, it's a huge issue you see on the college campuses. And over the years, we've just dealt with many, many of these cases. And then when I went out on my own, same thing. My office is in the heart of downtown Phoenix. That's basically part of the offshoot campus of Arizona State. So we get college kids in here all the time with those. And then we don't get college kids exclusively, but all sorts of people are associated with these cases, so we see it all the time.
Okay. Next question was, my son is facing multiple charges related to prescription drugs. I'm currently looking for an attorney to defend him. What questions should I be asking the attorneys?
A lot of the questions are generic in nature, whether it's a sex crime, whether it's a homicide, whether it's a drug-related crime like we have here. The questions should be similar. One, are you a former prosecutor? It doesn't mean everything, but it's a big deal because as a former prosecutor, you develop relationships with opposing counsel. So you're never going to get a deal under the table, and anybody who tells you otherwise, they're just lying to you. But the way it works is when I'm speaking with an attorney, a co-counsel or opposing counsel, excuse me, I'm doing my best to personalize my client and sell my client to that person. So if I have a friend on the other side of the table or a colleague that I used to work with, it makes a big deal because there's a certain level of trust and respect out there as opposed to something that I have to build if I wasn't a former prosecutor. So the first and most basic question is, are you a former prosecutor? The next question, and we see this all the time, is people will go in to these larger law firms and they'll meet with an attorney, sometimes not, but they'll meet with somebody who's representing the law firm, and the truth is that's not going to be your attorney. So you always want to know, who's my attorney going to be? Especially when you go to these law firms that have multiple attorneys, the question is, are you going to be my attorney? Is the name on the billboard, is that going to be my attorney? Or am I speaking with the person who's going to represent me? With the large law firms, the ones you see on TV and the billboards, a lot of times that's not the person who's ever going to touch your case. So it's a really important question. Who's going to be at court? Is it the same attorney every time, or is the file just going to be shuffled around? The third, I think, most important question is, how can I access my attorney? Do I have to call the office, and do I receive a receptionist who then shuffles me to a paralegal who then tells me that the attorney's out and will contact me whenever? Or do you have immediate contact with the attorney? I always provide that access to my client because these are life-altering situations that you're in, and it's really important that if you have a question, you can get that answered immediately as opposed to having to go through all of these different hoops to finally get in touch with the attorney. So most basic question is, hey, do I get my attorney's cell phone? With the Feldman law firm, you do. With a lot of the other law firms, you don't. So those are some of the most important questions to ask. And then obviously, the most important question, have you handled these cases before? And what type of results have you received?
Okay, next question, short to the point. What do you charge?
It's a great question. It's a tough question. Every type of drug case is very different. You have a college kid who gets picked up and he's got 2 Xanaxes on him that he didn't have a prescription, and it's a relatively straightforward case. You know, that's going to be on the much lower end of the spectrum. Flip side is you get a college kid or you get anybody who is forging prescriptions, getting thousands of these pills, and then selling them in the market. Those two cases are going to have drastically different prices. As a rule of thumb, I would say that the simple possession cases are going to start as low as $3,000, and then the price is just going to increase depending on the complexity of the case.
Okay. I have a friend. I had a friend's bottle of Adderall in the car, and I'm being charged with possession and attempt to distribute. It was really just his bottle that was left in the car. What are my options?
Assuming you've already been charged, your options are relatively limited. You can tell the prosecutor till you're blue in the face that it was your friend's bottle. They're not going to believe you. You can tell the police officers that it was your friend's bottle. They're not going to believe you. So really, the option you have is you get a public defender, or you can hire an attorney. But the importance of the attorney is that is your spokesperson. And this is why I think private attorneys have an advantage over public defenders. Oftentimes, the biggest complaint that I hear about public defenders is not that they don't know what they're doing. It's not that they're not good attorneys. It's that the level of communication between the client and the public defender is just not there. Sometimes I've heard people wait 45 days from the point of being arraigned or arrested until they ever meet their attorney or hear from their attorney when it's in the public sector. So when you hire an attorney, the biggest thing in a case like this is I'm going to talk to your friend. I'm going to talk to, if he has an attorney, his attorney. Depending on his age, I might have to talk to his parents. But we're going to try to get some sort of affidavit from that friend where he can include the information. Hey, you know, my prescription was for this. It was issued by this doctor. Here's a copy of the prescription. I went for a ride in my friend's car. I left the bottle. It was unintentional, and in no way, shape, or form have I ever given my friend any of these pills, or has he ever used these pills. That affidavit in and of itself is going to be very substantial in your defense, and sometimes it's significant enough for us to get the case dismissed completely.
Okay. This question is a little more specific. It's our final question. I was traveling across Arizona on a trip to California, was pulled over for throwing a cigarette out of the window. They found multiple bottles of Xanax with no prescriptions in my car. I've been bailed out and went back home to Colorado. Do you work with out-of-state clients, and if so, how is this going to work?
So yes, I work with out-of-state clients. Given the fact that you're on the border of Arizona and California, you know, there's some certain questions. One is, are you going to be charged in Arizona, or are you going to be charged in California? From the question, it's tough to, I can't quite read between the lines as to where you're being charged. If you're charged in California, unfortunately, I don't do cases in California, so you would have to search for an attorney who does those types of cases there. Let's assume that you were charged in Arizona. Anywhere in Arizona, anywhere within the state, I can practice. I'm licensed to practice there, and then I certainly would assist you. The fact that you're in Colorado is relatively insignificant. It makes for additional expenses, it makes for additional inconveniences, but it doesn't quite matter. The fact that you're in California leads me to believe that the court has already said that you have permission to leave the state. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to waive your appearance for as many unimportant hearings as possible. A typical case is going to last, let's say, 6 to 8 months. In that time, we will have several really status conferences, just where the court wants to make sure everybody's on track, that the attorneys are working together, things like that. Oftentimes these hearings last 3 to 5 minutes, and you don't say anything other than your name and date of birth. For those seemingly insignificant hearings, I always try to waive my out-of-state client's presence. That way, you're not flying from Colorado to Arizona to show up to court and literally just say your name and date of birth. A lot of times the courts are willing to have you appear telephonically, or even waive your appearance completely, and I could just appear for you. And that's the biggest convenience that I try to afford my clients. As far as the logistics of the case go, you being in Colorado, it doesn't matter. These days with email, with, you know, our ability to download documents and send them to you, we can do everything the way we do a normal case if the person was here in Arizona. Just like we're having this video chat, it's not uncommon for me to Skype with clients so that we're basically having an in-person meeting just through the computer. So while it poses a few little issues here and there, I think the issues are insignificant. I've represented clients who live out of state several times, many times, and it doesn't impede my ability to assist them.
Okay, excellent. Well, if you have more questions for Adam, all you need to do is post them in the comments section below, and he's agreed to get back with you. Thanks for your time, Adam.
Thanks, Ryan. And the biggest thing with all these questions, that they are very fact specific. So if you do have any additional questions, the consultation is always free. We can do it over the phone. You can come on into the office. If you want to just call me and shoot out a couple questions, that's great too. My telephone number is 602-540-7887. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Adam.